Most riders think their motorcycle dies from crashes, bad weather, or simple old age. But the truth is, most engines are destroyed the second you hit the start button. Yes, you can ruin a $10,000 machine before you've even rolled 1 foot out of the driveway. One wrong move in those first few seconds starting in gear, twisting the throttle cold, or leaving the choke on can silently grind your transmission, flood your cylinders, or shorten your engine's life by years. And here's the scary part. Even experienced riders make these mistakes every single day without realizing it. If you've ever thought, I know how to start my bike, I've been riding for years, this video will make you think twice, because the way you start your motorcycle decides how long it actually lasts. Number 1. Starting in gear without pulling the clutch. One of the most dangerous and costly startup mistakes is hitting the starter while the bike is in gear without pulling in the clutch. Many riders, especially those in a rush, skip this step. The moment you do, the bike can leap forward violently. If you're in the garage, that lurch might slam you into a wall. In a parking lot, it could send you straight into another vehicle or a pedestrian. Even if you manage to hold the brake, that sharp jolt stresses your entire drivetrain. Mechanically, this is punishing. The starter motor is forced to crank against engaged gears, which grinds the transmission and applies unnecessary strain on the clutch plates. Over time, this translates into premature wear and expensive repairs. Experts emphasize that cranking in gear without the clutch can cause excessive wear and tear on the gears and other internal components. And don't forget the human factor. More than one rider has been thrown off balance because the bike unexpectedly lunged forward. The fix is simple but non-negotiable. Always shift into neutral and pull in the clutch before you press the starter. Make it a ritual, like fastening your helmet. This tiny habit eliminates one of the most overlooked startup hazards, saving both your motorcycle and your own safety. Number 2. Revving or twisting the throttle. While cranking. Many riders have the bad habit of twisting the throttle during startup, thinking it helps the engine catch faster. In reality, it's one of the most destructive things you can do. When a bike has been sitting, especially overnight, oil has drained back into the sump. That means the pistons, camshafts, and bearings are momentarily dry. If you open the throttle, the engine races before proper lubrication is established, causing metal-to-metal contact. This single bad habit can scar cylinder walls, accelerate wear on piston rings, and shorten the life of your valve train. Mechanics explain it bluntly. Revving immediately after cranking isn't good for the engine before proper oil delivery is established. On carbureted bikes, opening the throttle during startup also leans out the mixture, which makes the bike stumble, misfire, or even backfire through the carb. On fuel-injected motorcycles, sensors are calibrated for a closed throttle start, and forcing them out of that condition just confuses the ECU. The right move? Keep the throttle closed. Hit the starter, let the bike crank, and allow the idle to stabilize naturally. Once oil pressure builds and the engine is running smoothly, then and only then adjust throttle as needed. It feels slower, but in truth, it saves your engine from years of unnecessary abuse. Number 3. Forgetting the kill switch position. It sounds like an amateur move, but even experienced riders sometimes forget the kill switch position. You hit the starter, nothing happens, and panic sets in. In the rush, you crank and crank, draining the battery, overheating the starter, and stressing the ignition system, all because the switch is off. The kill switch is there for emergencies, but when used casually, it creates more confusion than safety. Many riders flip it off when parking and then forget to reset it before their next ride. The result? Embarrassing no starts, wasted cranking, and in some cases, a dead battery. Official safety manuals remind riders to make sure the engine cutout switch is in the on position before attempting to start. The fix is easy. Treat the kill switch as an emergency-only tool. Use your ignition key for routine shutdowns and save the switch for times when you actually need to kill the engine quickly. Before pressing the starter, do a quick scan. Fuel on, kill switch to run, bike in neutral, clutch in. Building this checklist into your muscle memory prevents needless wear and embarrassing roadside troubleshooting. Number 4. Starting with the fuel. Tap off. Nothing drains confidence like cranking endlessly with the fuel tap closed. For bikes with manual petcocks, Forgetting to turn the fuel tap on means no fuel reaches the carburetor. Riders often overlook this after maintenance or long-term storage. The result is endless cranking, frustration, and unnecessary strain on the battery and starter motor. But it gets worse. Once the tap is turned on after prolonged cranking, the sudden rush of fuel can flood the cylinders, pushing raw gasoline past the rings into the crankcase. That contaminates your oil and fouls spark plugs. Carburetor jets can gum up quickly, leading to rough idle or no-start situations even after you correct the mistake. Fuel-injected bikes face a similar issue when riders ignore the low fuel light and insist on cranking on fumes. Starving the fuel pump can overheat it, shortening its lifespan dramatically. The solution is simple but essential. Always check fuel flow before starting. On carbureted bikes, confirm the petcock is set to on or reserve. On EFI bikes, never ignore the fuel warning light and avoid running the pump dry. A 5-second check saves you from hours of wrenching and hundreds of dollars in repairs. Number 5. Cold starting without using the choke. Cold starts are one of the most stressful moments for an engine. Metal contracts, oil is thick, and combustion requires a richer mixture. Ignoring the choke on a carbureted motorcycle forces the engine to run lean during this critical moment. The result? Hard cranking, weak combustion, repeated stalling, and excessive strain on the starter motor and battery. Lean combustion. At cold idle doesn't just make the bike run rough, it causes hot spots that can burn valves and deposit carbon. Repeated dry starts wear down cylinder walls, piston rings, and valve seats. That's why safety manuals emphasize, if the engine is cold, move the choke to on. Riders often skip this step because it feels outdated, but it's crucial for carbureted bikes. On modern EFI motorcycles, the ECU automatically enriches the mixture, but the principle remains the same. A cold engine needs fuel enrichment. Use the choke when required, and your bike will thank you with smoother starts and longer life. Ignoring it may seem like a shortcut, but it's a shortcut straight to costly engine repairs. Number 6. Forgetting to turn the choke off. After startup. If forgetting the choke at startup is bad, leaving it on after the engine has warmed is even worse. A choke left engaged creates a fuel-rich mixture that drowns the cylinders. This leads to black smoke, fouled spark plugs, diluted engine oil, and rough idle. Gasoline washing down cylinder walls strips away the thin film of oil, leaving raw metal rubbing against raw metal, a recipe for rapid wear. Riders who let the choke run just a little longer often notice sputtering, fuel smells, and poor throttle response. Over time, this bad habit destroys spark plugs, clogs exhaust baffles, and contaminates oil. As one mechanic notes, overuse of the choke reduces the necessary air, causing flooding. The solution is discipline. Once the bike idles smoothly and has even a bit of heat in the cylinders, push the choke off. Don't wait until the bike is fully hot, just until it can hold idle without assistance. This small step prevents rich running conditions that erode performance and reliability. Number 7. Prolonged or repeated cranking. The final mistake is one almost every rider has made. Mashing the start button continuously when the bike doesn't fire right away. It's tempting to hold it down, hoping more cranking equals more chances for ignition. In reality, this habit is one of the fastest ways to kill your starter motor and drain your battery. Continuous cranking overheats the starter, weakens the electrical system, and floods the cylinders with excess fuel. Experts warn that prolonged cranking or overuse of the choke can cause flooding. The correct method is short bursts 3 to 5 seconds at a time, followed by a 10-second pause. This allows the starter to cool and unburnt fuel to evaporate. If the bike still won't start after a few attempts, brute force isn't the answer. At that point, it's time to check the basics. Is the bike in neutral? Is the kill switch on? Is there fuel? Forcing the starter only masks the problem and creates new ones. A healthy motorcycle should fire within a couple of bursts. Anything else signals another issue that needs attention, not more cranking.